live, and we're working on some breaking news out of Myrtle Beach.
We've seen countless people driving through this area thinking that they can make it through these waters.
A mistrial has been declared in this case.
Kevin Holbrook says he's seen it time and time again, whether locally or nationally. Children and pets getting left in cars.
Latest information now out of Baton Rouge. 3 law enforcement officers shot and killed.
And we can't say it enough. You know, we can't be on air 24/7, but if your phone, if that's handy, you can know exactly where these storms are as they're approaching. Literally hand scrubbing the pieces of wood that hold up houses.
Those are just a few of the heart-wrenching sights and sounds from Orlando today.
Some Chanticleer fans are already here in their seats, posted up and ready for the first pitch. This is Brian Quigley. He's going to answer a few questions here for me. We just want to take a look at a few of those for you. This is Myrtle Ridge Road. Well, Ashley, normally by this time of night, the lights are out here, but because of the storm, many are still cleaning up. You can see crews are out here sweeping up debris. There's also a large pile of limbs, and this is all the stuff we were seeing earlier today, now just kind of grouped together in this huge pile. They're also working on patching up the holes left behind by this quick-hitting storm, a storm that has cost these businesses thousands of dollars in repairs and forcing some people to look for another place to sleep tonight. Sharon Talbot's shoes squeak through the water that now covers the floor of her store. How much inventory do you think that you're losing in this storm?
Gosh, I have no idea. I really don't even know where to begin.
She says she's in a state of shock following the storm that blew through her front windows.
Well, I was just panic. I'm like, well, he said, we think a tornado just came through the store. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
She's now boarding up and closing down Once Upon a Child until they can get things cleaned up.
I just can't believe it. That it just did this much damage in just like a second. Things came off the roof. You can see the dumpsters are upside down, and I'm just really thankful no one got hurt.
Scary moments that had many ducking for cover.
Everything went black, all the power went out, and you heard like the ceiling tiles go up and back down, and like some of them broke, and then the strollers came through the window.
The National Weather Service working quickly to survey what's left behind.
We only have a couple of hours before it gets dark, and before everybody cleans everything up.
We ran into these surveyors a few streets away as well, documenting fallen trees.
Just writing down size of the tree, the type of tree. You'll see we have some window. We'll put that will be in there.
One large tree taking out 4 apartments in Colonial Park.
Heard the rain, it got really loud, and I looked out the window and I heard this really loud snapping, popping sound. Guess it was the roots snapping.
Luckily, no one was inside at the time.
My bed is actually where the tree is right now. So that is ruined, and my favorite pillow is ruined. There's no ceiling, so.
Her things damaged by Mother Nature's power in this quick-hitting storm.
No, not even 20 men could pick that up. And it just come by here and just whiffed it away, just like just blowing leaves.
As we were driving around, it was just one scene after the other. Here at Once Upon a Child, they finally have this window boarded up, and if we look inside, you could see those tiles that they were talking about that were just lifted up by the force of this storm and brought back down, many of them broken. So it's going to be a pretty long cleanup process. They've even brought in the professional crews here, sweeping up the area, and again, these huge piles of debris are what's left behind tonight. The rain and the wind really working together to create all of this damage. Live in Wilmington tonight, Kaitlin Stansell, WECT News.
Operation 0 Hour started before dawn.
Please drive to highlighted route.
As we approach the house, we're going to go past it, maybe a couple car lengths so the other cars can get stationed up.
It's always better if we can find them and approach them and have the element of surprise on our side.
Come to the door.
Local, state, and federal authorities
What's he wanted for?
went after the worst of the worst.
Felony probation, OFA for assault. Is he a sex offender too? Yep, he's a sex offender too. He's got like 4 or 5 warrants also.
It's about 5:45 in the morning, and they've already taken in their first person. We're waiting on the transport van to come get him now.
Sheriff's office, come to the door.
This team, along with at least a dozen others, are in search of violent crime offenders across Robeson County.
He says he's got 3 or 4 different addresses for them.
But in their search for alleged murderers, rapists, and robbers, sometimes they come across criminals who were not necessarily on their radar.
I ain't had no gun, period.
But U.S. Marshals say this 16-year-old did have a bag of drugs and money, something authorities are trying to get off the streets of Robeson County.
You can take drugs. I don't care whether they're prescription drugs or illegal drugs, whatever drugs they are, you can tie them to everything that's going on.
They love it because you got a badge on.
Authorities say they see a cycle of crime in this area.
Some of them, we put them in the state part and they stay in there a little while and they get right back out and they do the same thing. So we're hoping and praying that some of these bad boys and bad girls, that we can send them away for a good little while.
And some believe these crimes are perpetuated by bigger social issues.
We know for a fact the economy has something to do with some of the stuff that's going on, whether it's poverty or whatever it is. Jobs are not readily available.
The team I was with earlier today has already arrested 3 people in their stops, and now I'm with the sheriff. He's brought me to a single-wide mobile home. We are off Moores Lane and Bowden Road, and what's going on right now is the North Carolina Highway Patrol, their tactical team, is staking out a man that is inside. He won't come out. They've knocked on the door a dozen or so times. They say that a rifle may be involved in this as well.
Hit that door some way so you can try to get that door open.
As the day went on, things got more intense. The people they were going after, more desperate to not go to jail.
They may be hiding under the house, in the attic, under clothes. They'll do whatever they can to evade capture.
After several hours, authorities were finally able to take this man into custody. He had to be transported by ambulance because of a prior shooting injury that left him with a broken leg.
The one thing that we wanted to do here is send a message to the community and to the violent offenders who terrorize these communities that, we are going to work together and we're going to do everything within our power to make sure these individuals are apprehended. And not only just apprehended, but then prosecuted.
By working with the U.S. Attorney's Office in this operation, authorities are able to pursue longer sentences and keep suspects accused of violent offenses off these streets and behind bars if they're convicted of their alleged crimes.
I think the best part of my job is, when we get a case and you've got a victim in that case, I think it's very rewarding when we can apprehend that individual and put that individual behind bars, and so that family can get justice for what has happened.
Fighting for first responders. A bill in the South Carolina Senate could cover the costs of mental health treatment of law enforcement personnel, firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs. But for now, it's stalled over concerns about abuse of the system. Reporter Kaitlin Stansell looked into the proposed legislation in her investigation that you'll see only right here on WMBF News.
The data is limited. Most states don't track suicides by occupation, but several people who work in emergency services say they've seen a real growth in the number of men and women taking their lives because of the mental stresses of the job. And that's why they say now more than any time before, it's critical that first responders get the help they need.
Not often does a month or a month go by that you don't see from different firefighter blogs and organization things that somebody has committed suicide because of on-the-job related stress or PTSD issues.
It comes with the territory. The men and women who work as first responders see the worst of the worst.
The firefighters, the police officers, the EMTs, that we ask to go into the most dangerous situations and really subject themselves to circumstances that could certainly cause, and you'd expect to cause post-traumatic stress disorder, which is very real, are the folk, they don't have any protection from that.
But a bill in the South Carolina Senate wants to fix that. It would cover PTSD as a compensable injury under workers' compensation. It's a small fix to the loophole first responders find themselves stuck in when they're suffering from mental illness.
You stay in the business long enough, you have your demons. You have those calls that you'll never forget, that'll never leave you, no matter what.
Whether it's a tragic car crash, or a fellow firefighter killed while on the job. The images
can haunt even the strongest first responder.
Psychologically, they've changed. Their personalities changed. They're not the same person they were before. I've seen it happen, and I know it's real.
The bill also takes away the designation that the experience or situation causing the mental trauma has to be extraordinary or unusual.
A traumatic event, I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder, and I think that's the difficulty with trying to create some sort of definition. I don't know how you define, watching a child, die as a result of a car crash is horrible any way you slice it, but it may not be as bad as, watching one burn to death.
But some in the Senate have concerns about these changes.
I was told blatantly to my face that firefighters would fake PTSD to get this coverage. That's a slap in the face of the firefighters and police officers that serve the state of South Carolina, saying we don't care about your mental health.
I think their biggest objection is just the unknown, really the unknown cost.
Florence County was one of the only local counties to report their estimate that this bill could raise workers' comp claims by up to $35,000 a year. And overall, statewide estimates written into the bill project an increase of $1.7 million if first responder claims go up by 20% over the fiscal year.
These aren't malingerers that are trying to, game the system. These are brave men and women that did what we asked them to do, and because of it, they're not going to be the same people. They're not going to be as they were before.
This piece of legislation is a pay now or pay later type of legislation. You can either pay for a new firefighter to come on the job, or you can pay for the care of a firefighter, the one that's been there with the experience, hours, and what I think is owed to him for his years of service and the things he's done for his community.
Now, with the legislative session wrapping up in a few months, time is running out for this bill to get the attention many say it deserves.
Well, we're saving lives, saving marriages, saving families, saving careers. That's what we're doing with this piece of legislation.
When we say first responders, this bill only defines those emergency services as law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMTs, or paramedics. It covers them in the paid capacity and as volunteers. To read the full bill and to check out a petition being signed by many first responders and supporters across the state, head to our website, WNBFnews.com. I'm Kaitlin Stansell for WNBF News.
WNBF News reporter Kaitlin Stansell joins us live from where that accident happened on Homestown Road. And Kaitlin, you talked with the victim's family about the difficult decision to let their loved one go.
Yeah, Michael, it happened in this area on Saturday. Vincent Gimino had just left his sister's home. He was on the way to his house when authorities say that another driver sideswiped his bicycle. The man accused of hitting him charged with leaving Gimino to fight for his life alone on the side of the road.
There is no part of me that understands how somebody could just hit somebody that hard to have parts fly off your car and keep going.
Responders took Vincent Gimino to Grand Strand Medical Center after a vehicle hit him as he was biking home. His injuries so traumatic, doctors told Gimino's family there was no hope that he would survive.
I think that if he would have stopped, maybe my brother would still be here right now. And I know that my brother would want justice.
The man authorities say is responsible for Gimino's death is 54-year-old Lawrence Flanagan. He faces several charges, including hit and run resulting in death and going too fast for conditions.
It's not going to bring our brother back. Charging him, I mean, Vince is gone.
Gimino's life taken while doing something he loved.
He was a fanatic with that, the exercise.
Yeah, he would ride his bike 10 miles, get off, change his shirt, and go take a walk for 5 miles.
Gimino's family never expected that today they would have to make one of the most difficult decisions of their lives, to take their brother off life support.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's hard to see him lay there. You just think he's going to open his eyes. Just absolutely, totally unresponsive. And just trying to, say goodbye to him.
A goodbye they hope no other family ever has to make.
I would just hope that people would have a conscience to care about other human beings.
Flanagan is set to appear in court tomorrow for a bond hearing. Jamino's family says they plan to be there. In Horry County, I'm Kaitlin Stansell for WMBF News.